Welcome to LSC. It's Sports Time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have longtime assistant coach at Hampton High School football, Alvis Mann. Welcome, Alvis.
Hey, thank you, Bob, for having me.
Been a long time over to Hampton High. But let's go back before we talk about Hampton High. You grew up here on the peninsula.
I did. I graduated from Huntington High School, and I had that pleasure to work with Coach Madden, Teddy Baycoat, Walter King, and Ray Crittenden, and I can't forget Coach Buggs, and his son was the quarterback for Kickerton.
That's right.
With the Penn State as assistant coach now, so I've been on it.
Well, it was nice of you to come on a program and to talk a little bit about your background, but you left after you graduated, you went to Hampton University, but not on a football or athletic scholarship, did you?
No, I didn't. My brother and I, Stanley, we was lucky to have two great parents, Lois and Simon. I love them to death, and they gave us a solid foundation, and my mother was interested in academics, and I decided to concentrate on my academic courses while in college, and she worked with me, and I was able to get an academic scholarship, so I was lucky.
Well, not lucky, hard work.
Hard work.
That's what and you got to have support. The parents have got to kind of guide you where you need to go, and that's important. And talking about parents, you married Carol.
Yeah, my wife, Carol Mann, and she retired in 2007, as well as myself, from the Hampton school system. She was the principal at Lindsay Middle School,
okay.
And great person, and we have two outstanding daughters,
yes,
my princesses, and I love them to death, and that's Crystal and Jessica, and they are doing quite well. They both graduated from the Hampton school system. Crystal graduated from Kickerton High School, and Jessica from Hampton High School.
Oh, you got the school system pretty well covered anyway. That's great. Now, after you left Hampton University, or was Hampton Institute when you were there,
yes,
you immediately then started teaching in Hampton. Was that your first job?
Yes, it was my first job, and I had no idea. I started in 1972,
right?
Room 210.
We're not talking Hampton High School now.
We're talking about Hampton High School. And gosh, I retired there in 07, so it was 35 years teaching, and I'm still doing a little bit of coaching there. And it was just a great honor. There's once I got in Hampton High School, it was such a family atmosphere. I knew a lot of the kids who attended the school and their family knew my family, and it was just a family affair. Well,
but also what happens is you've been there long enough to see some of those kids that you first taught, some of their children come back into the system, I'm sure.
That's really true. I guess I can remember one is Tyrod Taylor. His father played football for us there at Hampton High School, Rodney, and many more, so I can't call too many names. I don't want to get anyone mad, but yes.
Well, we're not going to test your memory, but when you started teaching at Hampton, and most people that get into coaching are physical education teachers, but you were not a physical education teacher.
No, I decided to go with the fine arts. I majored in art education, and I had some outstanding teachers down at Hampton Institute at the time, Lorraine Bolton, Reynolds, Miles, and Mr. Gilliard, my art teacher. He was outstanding, our ceramic teacher. So I've been blessed to have some excellent mentors through my educational career.
Well, see, and that's the key. You've got to have somebody that's going to mentor you. In other words, you just kind of bumble along. You can still make it, but if you've got somebody that can kind of guide you and influence you a little bit, it always helps. Now, when you started, you didn't start coaching at Hampton with the football team until the year later, and we figured out that's how many years?
Right, that's been about 37 years. I started in 1973. Coach Smith invited me on his staff, gave me an opportunity. I'd heard so much from Coach Smith, from Ricky Brown. Those guys attended my church, Big Sugar Daddy Rogers, so we used to talk football every Sundays up in the balcony. Parents didn't know. And so I had the opportunity to meet Coach Smith, and what a great guy, a great leader, great charisma. So he gave me the opportunity. You know, Bob Tyson was with him at that time, welcomed me aboard, and Frank Johnson. It was just a wonderful opportunity.
Was that Mike's first year?
I don't think it was his first year. Maybe it was going on his second or third year.
Yeah, because he had just taken over from Johnny Palmer.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly when it was, because when I went to Bethel in 1970, I was on Bowling Shoop's squad or his staff, and Johnny was still coaching.
Right.
And that was in the 70 to 71 year. So Mike could have taken over the year before, but 37 years.
Right.
Now, have you always had the same responsibilities as far as what area you coached? Or had that changed from year to year?
It's changed a little bit. I used to follow coach around. I really had no responsibilities in the beginning, and that was an excellent opportunity for me to follow coach around in practice.
Right.
We did the quarterbacks, the receivers, linebackers, running backs, and then the offensive line. And my gosh, Coach Smith had some of the greatest schemes I've ever seen during that time period. So I was blessed to get an overall view.
Right.
And then with time, I worked with the running backs, linebackers, secondaries.
Okay.
So it's been a great blessing.
Well, we always talk about having a coaching staff that has some cohesiveness, that have been together a long time.
Right.
And this is one thing to take a look at the Hampton system over there with Mike Smith, you and Danny Mitchell, have been with him so long that you guys almost wired together. You know what the coach wants.
Right.
So you don't have to go ask him. You know what he wants. Is that correct?
Oh, that's so true. Coach Smith, we talk about his parents, and he lost his father this past year, and his parents are hard workers like my parents and Danny's parents, and they just taught you how to work hard. And we got there with Coach. I think he brought that family hard work attitude to our team.
Right.
And it was so easy to relate to him because, we come from a family of hard workers and didn't make any excuses, just work hard.
Well, and that's one thing that a lot of people say about the Hampton program over there, is that you guys probably the best fundamental coaches, but because your kids are so fundamentally sound, they can be smaller than the player they're playing against, but they can beat him because of their technique and their what they learn from the coaches. Well,
that's so true. And now I had the opportunity, like I said, to work with the running backs and receivers, but Coach Smith and Coach Baco were outstanding offensive line coaches, and Danny Mitchell played for Coach Smith.
Right.
And boy, I had the opportunity to watch those guys. Coach Smith come up with some of the greatest angle blockings you ever seen in your life, and Danny was a replica of that, and it was just an excellent opportunity to learn schemes and how to outmaneuver people. And those two guys are great to watch.
I bet they are. But
a lot of fun.
A lot of your assistant coaches have come through Mike's system. Is that right?
So true. We're blessed now with Myron Newsom. Myron went on to play for Virginia Tech, played a little bit in the World Football League, the National Football League, and he's back home with us now. He's coaching his son at Hampton High School. He's our running back coach and linebacker coach. And we had the opportunity for George Massenberg. He's our JV coach. He played for us. And this year, Muffin, I call him Muffin, Armando Curry,
yes,
had the opportunity to come and help us out. So.
And you had another one that ended up going over to Kickertown, like Bobby Blizzard, and I asked him, I says, the first game that you had to put on that green jersey, that green shirt, I said, what was it like? He said, it was hard to pull over my head.
I can
because
believe
his daddy, and I mean, this was Hampton High School. That's where he did. That's where he flourished for 4 years.
Right, his father coached at Hampton High School for the longest time.
Before he went to Phoebus, was over there.
Right.
Now, we didn't talk a whole lot about your experience in teaching art, but you've touched a lot of people and a lot of kids' lives with your teaching. Not a lot of people think art's, either you can draw or you can't draw.
Right.
But even though you can draw, there's techniques that you have to teach. Did you learn this at Hampton Institute or Hampton University when you were there? Was a lot of it you picked up because of your knowledge of doing art?
Well, like I said, my mentors in the past, I had Alan Lewis as my art teacher, Mrs. Mann, not related to me, at Huntington High School.
Okay.
Alan Lewis went on to VCU and became a professor up there. And then I had the opportunity to work with some of the greatest teachers, I thought, at Hampton Institute, and just picked up different techniques. But what I picked up was caring about people and not worrying about their art skills, but just getting them to come to school every day and create and try to come up with ideas that were different. Yes.
Back to the family.
Yes.
Very family oriented, not only in your coaching, but in your teaching too.
Exactly.
Right. Now, I remember when I talked to you, it's been quite a few years ago now, and Hampton had just finished the football season, and I asked you, I said, well, what's it look like next year? And you said to me, we got a young man coming in, playing quarterback, you're not going to believe. And then that's all you told me. Didn't tell me his name, nothing. And that was?
Well, it was Ronald Curry. And we had heard about him through the rec league and the association. We have a great rec league here, too, in the city of Hampton. And coaches do an outstanding job preparing kids for the middle school at that time and JV and the varsity programs. But the word came about Ronald. Boy, he was an outstanding player.
Well, he was. And I'm not going to ask you to remember, but there's got to be some players that you coached that you could see such an improvement when you first started with them, whether it was a sophomore, junior, and when they graduated.
Exactly. Well, you know, it's natural to see your starters, but I enjoyed working with what we call the meat squad.
Right.
Offense and defense in practice. And those are some of the best guys on your team, role models. And it's where people come together for a common cause, you know, unity. And those guys would come to practice every day, sacrifice their ego because they wouldn't start, but yet they wanted the team to be successful.
Right.
And they did a great job of running other teams' offense, defense, and they worked hard and they went out the first units and we got great results. And I really admire those guys because they developed from a certain level and took themselves to another level. And it wasn't so much starting on Friday nights and Saturdays, but it was making sure the team was ready to be successful.
Well, now, doesn't the coach have a lot to do with that, getting that out of those players, knowing they're not going, but they're part of the unit, they're part of your family. So the coaches have to, you have to give them a pat on the back just like you do the starters.
Oh, you have to. The first day of practice, coach tells the guys, and that's Coach Smith, you know, we're a team, we're a family, the water boy, the trainers, we're all one unit. Everyone has a goal, and let's just get the best out of each other.
Wow. I know it's been an experience, and you're still doing it, even though you retired, and you still come back. I see you on the sideline. So you what do you call yourself now? I still call you coach. I look on the sideline, I see you're still coaching.
Yeah, you never stop coaching. You fade out eventually, I guess. But anytime you're working with kids and people who want to come out and work hard and reach goals, it's just kind of hard to get away from people like that.
Yeah.
So you just gravitate towards those people and you just want to see them do well. Both sides of the ball, too, you know, your opponent also.
Right. Now, we talked a little bit about the coaching aspect, but time-wise, you guys put in unbelievable amount of time. Just take me through a little bit of how many hours you put in. I'm not talking practice hours after school.
Right.
I'm talking weekends.
Oh, gosh, we were so blessed to have great families. You know, our wife, Carol, and the kids, Justin, Chris, and Coach Smith family, and Danny's family, and other coaches. Gosh, guys, we work on the Saturdays, Sundays, breaking down film, and then Monday, you're ready to start in practice, and we would work, you know, get to school 7 o'clock in the morning, do our normal duties, and then after school, we would go from 3 o'clock to about 8 o'clock, 8:30. Let's just stare at the school, and then I felt sorry for Coach Smith. He would go home and go to sleep sometime watching film and so forth. But starts from the top and you know, just work this way on down. Right. And we all felt like we had a role to do and they want to let each other down, especially the kids who look up to you and want to do so well and play so well for you.
Well, I know I was talking to you earlier. I had the pleasure of having Coach London in here from University of Virginia, and he told me, he says, his hat goes off to high school coaches. He said, they do so much more than what anybody sees. He says, that is just unbelievable to him. Now, if you could just sum up in a few sentences your experiences at Hampton High and you wanted to tell another guy that's coming into the system why he'd want to go to Hampton to be a teacher at Hampton or coach at Hampton, what would you say to him?
Well, not only Hampton High School has a rich tradition.
Right.
It's one of the richest traditions in the country, and I was just honored to have the opportunity to go there. And the art program, the academics were so strong, the traditions from the past, and I had the opportunity to work with athletes. You know, I coached tennis also.
Right.
And some great athletes on my tennis team at that time. And then you go into the classroom, you look at people wanting to come in and learn every day. They're just ready to go. And all you do is just give them a little problem and let them solve that. And I would say to a person, that's the greatest opportunity in the world, is to present problems and then see what type of results you get, the different types of results, the variety. It's just a warming experience, and it keeps you young forever. Yeah. And you just build. It does.
I love that.
It's just wonderful.
That's good.
Just wonderful.
Well, Alvis, I appreciate you taking time to come in and see us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Bob.
I want to thank you for tuning in to LSC and it's Sports Time. And I want to also thank my special guest, Alvis Mann. And this is Bob Hintz, who's your host. Till next time.